Jill is here, and we're here till 12. Actually, I'm out a little bit early today. I have you can see my shirt today. I'm playing to the audience. I'm speaking to the Missouri Quarterback Club at Llewellyn's. Try the white chili. And, one time I spoke at the Quarterback Club, and it's a vigilant group of Tiger fans. These are hardcore
fans
guys.
or alumni players or
maybe a
both?
little bit of both.
Okay.
Probably Howard will be there. And I think I was a little too candid. It was kind of a downtime for Mizzou sports. So there's everything to be positive
So you've had
about
a 13-year hiatus since the last time they asked you back?
Exactly, yeah. I was thinking of things to say today. Because I've seen all the highs and lows for 3 decades. One time Monique came down to the kitchen, it was 1 a.m., and she saw me with headphones on, listening to cassette tapes. And she goes, God, what on earth are you doing? And I was listening to Ricky Clemens, their former basketball player, who was in jail, his phone calls for a TV story about, and he said some kind of racist things. While he was in prison, listen to these phone calls. And she goes, God, you need a life. Because, you remember you could have access to that as a reporter. You could get the phone call tapings, and we got them. And like my producer, Larry Thornton, took 10. I took 10. I listened to them for 5 hours. They were like fascinating.
Did you, is it still a thing that inmates will send letters to people at the TV station, either just to say, I watch you all the time, or please help me, my case?
Do you have one of those stories?
Because I did Contact Too, right?
Yeah.
Consumer Reported, there was the persona was helping people who need help. And so I got, if not once a day, multiple a week from various, prisons around the region. And I read them all. Some of them.
Did you ever get a story out of them?
I did not ever get a story out of them because we weren't resourced and we weren't really, that wasn't part of what we were doing, was necessarily going and trying to retry cases. And nothing ever struck me as Now, we did do stories through the years when, for instance, some of the college's investigative programs have gone back and helped get innocent people out of jail from reinvestigating stories, and legal clinics at both SLU and WashU sometimes would retake on cases where there had been errors in prosecution. So we did that kind of stuff, but no letter.
I would love to do an interview at a detention center or at a prison. We were close one time, and at the last minute, the inmate got cold feet and decided not to. I think that makes for riveting TV. Mm-hmm. Have you ever done one in a detention center?
Yeah, multiple times. Even when I was in college, I did one for a story. I somehow convinced him from the school newspaper to let me go in and interview somebody. So
Jill Farmer in the Iowa Penitentiary.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I think we even did in high school journalism school. We got to talk to somebody in that system too. So I do think it's very cool that the Quarterback Club has you. And so can you give us, since most of us aren't going to get to be there for the luncheon, can you give us any hints or a foretaste of the feast to come, so to speak, about what you're going to share with those
Well, I
guys?
am going to share that this is the best time we've ever had in terms of coaches, if you factor in what their age, what they've done, what they're doing, and what they will do. And then just kind of relive some of the great moments. I've always contend, and I'm not just saying this because he's a teammate, but when I was 30 feet away when this happened, when Steve Stepanovich said yes to Mizzou, that was one of the most important moments in Mizzou history. Because at the time, Norm Stewart had some losing seasons, was on the cusp of maybe being in trouble. And Steve said, yes, I'm going, this McDonald's All-American. And then, a day later, John Sunvold said, yes, I'm coming if Steve's coming. And together they won 100 games and 4 Big 8 titles. And the program was awesome for years to come. So that signing was one of the most important.
We were with dear friends last night who were season ticket holders and asking them how the game was over the weekend. And, they're just overwhelmingly positive about this experience of being a season ticket holder in these last watching the trajectory from 10 years ago to where they are now and years. And so they said, we really wanted to win that game on Saturday, of course, but also as they were on the drive home, they were like, also, we got so close. And who would have guessed that Mizzou would be playing the Alabamas of the world at that level? They're still very happy with the way things are going.
You could argue we're past moral victories, but in general, this program is in the right spot. And look, if you lose a home game every 735 days, that's a good thing, so. All right, so what else is going on in your life today, Jill?
Did you notice, did you have any trouble getting traffic on the way here, or what was your experience?
I didn't have any issues.
Okay, good. I must have hit all of the issues. And yesterday too, I look at it as a positive, just gives me a little more quality time with McGraw and team in the morning when it's slow down. But I felt like there was some really crazy driving happening. And
Connor, did you hit it too?
Nothing crazy. No. So maybe it was earlier than, because I know you get in a little early.
Yeah, I think I just had that bad luck of choosing the exact moment when there was a slowdown on 64.
You're talking about 270 or no?
And then there was a slowdown at 170 and 64. There was a slowdown further east in the city, and then at 170 and 64, and then kind of at 270 they were just clearing that accident that had happened at Olive, and that had created a real slowdown.
I like your attitude for being stuck in traffic. You just get more time with McGraw. So
that should be a promo.
Considering I have worked at home, run my business out of a home office for the better part, other than some co-working space, for the better part of the last 20 years. Daily commute is something that I definitely had to get used to in the last year for sure, but I kind of have gotten to the point where I sort of like the wind up and wind down time of the day to have that.
What would we do without things to occupy us in the car if we didn't have radio, if we didn't have podcasts, we didn't have cell phones, which is what, our parents probably grew up. Well, no, they had radio, but still, I don't know what we do with that.
Well, I remember when we first started doing books on tape for our long trips, like when we go out skiing in Colorado, and we'd go get the cassettes.
Yes. Or cassettes,
and then you just like, okay, this chapter's over, and then you change the cassette out. But it still felt like it was luxurious to be listening to those books on tape for sure. Hey, speaking of luxury travel, just talking to McGraw a little bit earlier, this weekend is the incredible weekend of the Disney cruise. He's taken daughter Emerson on the trip of a lifetime. Everybody's excited. And one of the things that he has said over and over is, thank goodness Altair Travel and Cruises is handling all of the technical aspects of this, because a Disney cruise is one of those things that if you haven't done it before, there's a lot of insider knowledge, and that's why you want somebody on your team like Altair Travel that knows the insider knowledge, whether you're doing a Disney cruise or you're thinking about one of those European river cruises or any of those. There's so many options, and there's so many insights that are unique to each company. You want somebody that understands this, that practically has their PhD in understanding it, and that's where Altair Travel and Cruises is. 314-968-9600, altairtravel.com.
Some of my fondest memories as a kid is heading down to the hardware store. You had to pick up a couple of nails, a couple of screws, maybe a gallon of paint, whatever it may be, right? It was your friendly neighborhood hardware store. Well, those don't exist anymore in St. Louis, except for Schnarr's Hardware. They have two locations in Webster Groves and in Clayton Road in Ladue. Schnarr's Hardware is that place where you go in and you can get that bucket of paint, you can get a couple screws. The advice is always free. And the one thing about Schnarr's Hardware that every single family hardware store used to have, and that is the smell. It smells like a hardware store. It's got the selection. I don't know how they do it. It's a small store, but they got everything you ever need. They got the paint. They got paint matching. They've got big green eggs. They've got screws and nails and everything a hardware store should have. Schnarr's Hardware, 2 locations, 1 great hardware store. Schnarr's Hardware, we'll see you there.
At Maryville University, we power dreams, not just degrees. For nearly 150 years, we've empowered graduates to build successful careers. At Maryville, expect a rigorous, technology-driven, mentor-inspired education in a diverse and inclusive learning environment. We help you take it to the next level, no matter what field you choose. Now is the time to turn your ambition into action and transform your dream into reality. Start your journey at maryville.edu.
We sell siding, windows, doors, and decking by the truckload. My name is Julius Krasanik, celebrating 53 years in this business. Our company is Wholesale Siding Depot, and our seasoned customer service group has over 200 years of combined siding, window, door, and decking knowledge. My grandson Elijah says,
"Are you kidding me?"
The brands that we sell are durable, maintenance-free, and energy-saving. Featuring Anderson, CertainTeed, Viwinco, Provia, Masonite, TimberTech, and others, offering the best selection of styles and colors available in this industry. And better yet, our prices are wholesale every day. Last, our Peace of Mind initiative also includes a free contractor referral service to take care of your installation concerns or needs. You are just one click away from keeping it local, family, and professional. Please visit WSDepot.com. That's WSDepot.com.
A message from the master. If you are looking for that one-of-a-kind gift this year, come on in to Newsletter's Fine Jewelers. Let Richard draw your future present for somebody you love. This special engraving lasts a lifetime. At the corner of Big Ben and Doherty Ferry or at wowdiamonds.com.
It's Julie Buck here to tell you that the patio is open at Bishop's Post right next to Chesterfield Mall. Get your reservations in now and go to Bishop's Post. You will love it. Tell them Julie Buck sent you, bishopspost.com.
Ever wonder what the KTRS Air personalities look like?
Well, now you can.
Now streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. Sitting at home or at the office, you can now watch the Big 550 live. Just find the Big 550 KTRS on Facebook or 550 KTRS TV on YouTube. 2 ways you can see the hosts in all their on-air glory. We are live, local, and the talk of St. Louis. We are the Big 550 KTRS.
Depend on it.
And now the opening dialogue with Frank and Jill on the Big 550 KTRS.
Powered by Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Okay, thought one. So 56 years ago this week, Ron Jacober did one of the most famous interviews ever at KSTK. The Cardinals shockingly fired legendary and immensely popular future Hall of Famer Harry Carey. Jacober tracked Harry down at Bush's Grove restaurant, and Harry insisted while doing the interview he would be drinking a Schlitz beer to stick it to Anheuser-Busch. Jacober caught a lot of heat from Fleischman Hilliard for doing the interview. They told him, you know how much money we spend at Channel 5? Don't do this, young man. You're making a career decision. Fleischman had the Cardinals and AB as their customers. Anyway, we are shooting a piece today at the same location where that interview took place. Bush's is now a spa. But I went yesterday, and even though most of the place, it's called Palm, has been redone, the area where Ron actually did the interview is still intact, all this old mahogany. So I thought it would be a good idea to do it with Ron and I having a Schlitz beer. It's a tough find. Schnucks, Dierberg's, Total Wine, nobody had it. Looking for ideas as we speak on the text line, 84126. I have located some Schlitz cans, but we're looking for if anybody actually has the Schlitz beer. And it leads me to this, not to slam Schlitz, but worst beer ever that you've ever tasted. Now, Monique, who makes beer bread quite a bit, buys a cheap beer for just that purpose, not to drink it, but to put it in the bread. And she bought some Old Milwaukee a few weeks back. I think that's a candidate. That did not taste good at all. 84126, if you have Schlitz, or what is your worst beer ever?
Wouldn't Natural Light be up there for most people in terms of affordable but not particularly tasty?
But it's not offensive. It just kind of tastes like beer water. I don't know if for me, when you're asking me that question, I'm thinking like a beer that I think actually tastes bad.
Okay, you got one?
But I don't know. I had to think about it.
Okay, what about Hams? Remember?
Hams.
That was a.
Now, if you go to Total Wine right now, because I was there yesterday looking at the bottom shelves, they have all those crappy beers, but they didn't have Schlitz.
So the original Schlitz went defunct in 1999. But they got bought by Pabst, who apparently still makes some kind of
PBR. Speaking in the
some kind of Schlitz, so you can go. I think you can probably order a case online. That's what it looks like.
So that's why you're not finding it. Is it's
too late for that?
You're 26 years too late to actually get it off to the assembly line.
905 beer. Somebody suggesting. Yeah, 905. They had their own beer. Were you here when 905 was around? Yeah, that was a hot place for people to.
And how often did you get to eat at Bush's Grove?
Oh, probably 2 or 3 times in those huts. It was like the most romantic thing you could ever do. And I believe me, I knew some people that worked there. A lot of bad things went on in those huts.
Oh, really?
Couple for 2, yeah. Knock before you come in. Yeah, oh my God.
Oh, okay, so we went once. I think when John was in law school, somebody who was from St. Louis set up this fun dinner to celebrate end of the semester. We were unaware of the price point. That was before you could look up menus, and we were on a very, very, very tight budget in those days. And so I remember kind of looking at each other, and I'm not saying we split the house salad and drank water, but I think that's close to what we ordered for dinner that night.
Where the old money Ladue people would go in their green sport coats and their corduroys and their Lily Pulitzer and all.
I thought it was really cool. The aesthetic was really cool. It was just well beyond our budgetary constraints at that time of life. So I have mixed feelings about it because I thought it was really cool, but also I remember my blood pressure goes up just thinking about it, going, how much money's in the account and what can we order tonight that is not going to get us in trouble for sure.
Buckhorn beer is getting some votes already. I love this line. Almost undrinkable for a college student. I've never heard of Buckhorn beer.
Falstaff, Lone Star, Natty Light making a comeback with the college kids. Lots of you voting on Falstaff as well. Keystone Light. Oh, do you remember that?
I know of it, but I don't remember drinking it.
Yeah, that was a good headache inducer back in the early 90s, if I remember.
Frank, it looks
correctly.
like to pick up some Schlitz, you'd have to go, the closest stores are in the South Chicago suburbs. So if you think you can get up and back in time.
Be a tough flight.
Old Style, Milwaukee's Best, Keystone. So some people here are really picky on the line. They don't like Heineken.
Oh, that's crazy. Heineken's a fine beer. At one time, there were 51 breweries in St. Louis. Somebody says find a Kroger store. Are there Krogers left?
Well, it's more of an upper Midwest thing.
Yeah, we don't have any Krogers here in St. Louis at all. So I think you're just going to have to tell the Schlitz story or have a Schlitz
I have
logo.
The cans, or I don't want to give it away. That would be deceptive. So I'm going to be quiet on this from here on out. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, we'll look forward to a very fun interview. I think it's a great idea, no matter how you end up carrying it out. So big news today, if you're watching any of the morning television shows, Instagram's new parental controls in place now. They're claiming that there's going to be a teen accounts, which automatically create some default restrictions, and it takes a parent to be able to lift the restrictions, wider search blocking, so you can't look for things that have to do with things like alcohol or self-harm or drugs, allegedly. Limited content mode, which it can be even a stricter option that parents can talk about. The other thing that used to be a workaround is if there were some parental controls on there and if you search for something, it would block you. But then if your friend sent you a link to something questionable in the direct messages, you could get by it. People are still saying it's still impossible for parents to be able to get in and read direct messages, which they think is the cause of cases where adults are taking advantage of kids in many cases, or other things are communicated that parents would not want.
What does that mean, taking advantage?
So if somebody pretends to be a teenager, for instance, online and says, "Come meet me, you're my dream guy," teenager, and then so that parents are still pushing harder. Parents groups are still saying we need to have access to that. It was interesting that the head of Instagram was on the Today Show when they pushed him on some of these limitations and saying, "Why aren't you going even further to try to protect kids?" He basically said there's a million other competitors out there, by the way, in other countries that are far less regulated that the kids are going to move to if we get to the point where they don't get to do some of the things that they want to in terms of social media and connecting to each other. You know, whether you buy that or not, I'd love to hear from you on the Royal Banks of Missouri text line 84126. Parental controls, just lip service by these companies, don't really make a difference. The baby's already this baby's already been born and we're not putting it back in kind of situation. Or do you think that these kind of regulations are necessary in order to keep kids safe?
Yeah, wouldn't you be inclined to go a little bit overboard now? You know, and look, believe me, I don't know if you could do it and it'll be that effective, but it could be effective in small percentage.
Right, and not to be too nerdy or philosophical, but since I am both of those things at times, the whole platform is set up making money by the more clicks you have and the more time kids spend on it. We know that it's bad for kids' brains to be on this. So how do we expect? Isn't that asking the fox to guard the hen house, to say protect yourself and make kids spend less time on your platform because that's what's better for their brains? They're not going to be the ones that do the self-regulation on that front.
So, Connor, you think it could work a little?
What's that?
More restrictions?
More restrictions? I mean, I don't know if it'll really work. I think kids can get around stuff if they want, and I've always felt that way. But
that's depressing, but it may be true. Okay, thought two. One of the topics on the minds of Mizzou people nowadays is the future of Eli Drinkwitz, even a Post-Dispatch article. And for a change, it's not about the school looking to upgrade, but rather Eli potentially looking to upgrade. Let me say here and now, I would be shocked if he left Mizzou. Here's why. He already is the 10th highest paid coach in the country. $9 million a year is not chump change. His president basically fired the athletic director for him. He's getting the renovations to turn around Faroe Field to make it like the Taj Mahal of SEC stadiums. It's going to be unbelievable before it's all said and done. He doesn't have to beg for NIL money. You don't have to win 10 games to keep your job. And all these transfers will likely be back next year. He basically made 2-year deals for some of them or most of them. The guy owns the town. He drives a Maybach. And I don't think he wants to restart at Auburn. Florida has players, but he's made this a great job. I don't think he's going anywhere. But I tell you what, though, Jill, like, you know, in television, the only way you can get a raise is if you threaten to leave or you have a job offer. And then they say, oh, well, we will give you this. Mm-hmm. I mean, if he wants to get a raise out of this, go flirt with Auburn. But in the end, I don't think he's going to go.
You tell me where I'm wrong. Is why would Auburn be a step up from Mizzou?
Well, I mean, Auburn has had a better football tradition over the years, and it's the only game in town. I don't think it's better. I think
I heard somebody said they had a ton of money and some alumni who were willing to pay whatever it took to get somebody in who could restart.
Yeah.
Okay. The Florida, I mean, there's a lot of panache with Florida, even though they haven't been good for a while. But also, I would think it would be a
fertile recruiting,
a very high stakes job in terms of you win or you leave very quickly. So that doesn't make sense. But of course, we always think you should stay at home, become king of Columbia from here on out, and we're not the ones making the decision, I guess, unfortunately. Sweet Tooths unite. Very good news in case you did not mark this special day on your calendar. I do kind of sometimes look at it and go, which one is which? National Dessert Day, Sweet Tooth in St. Louis. We want to hear.
Official day.
Yes, we want to hear from you right now on the Royal Banks of Missouri text line. Your favorite place to go for a special dessert, whether it's birthday or holidays, anniversary, or a Tuesday, and that's just where you go to satisfy your sweet tooth. Is back in the day, of course, the World's Fair Eclair was always a special occasion stop for the sweet tooths in our house. For me, there's pretty much, I tend to be more of a salty person, but there's nothing in the world that beats a turtle sundae at Ted Drew's. I think it's absolutely the pinnacle of the best dessert out there. How about you guys? What's your fave?
I will just say this. If you don't go St. Louis, I'd say Cafe Du Monde in New Orleans and the beignets.
Okay.
That's like my all-time favorite thing to eat.
For breakfast or just any time?
Anytime,
okay.
Yeah.
That's always, that does it for you. Okay, how about you?
The beignet, very messy. It's a very messy item because of the powdered sugar. That was my experience when I had it. Dessert, I'm not a huge dessert guy, but would probably go with some kind of ice cream or custard if you want to go to Ted Drew's. But that's what I would go with.
Funny Cafe Du Monde story. When we were there, we took my in-laws to New Orleans for the first time as a Christmas gift a couple of years ago, and people kept asking my father-in-law if he'd been to Cafe Du Monde, and he was like, why? Wiped his mouth. He's like, do I have anything? And we pointed to his jeans. He had two perfect handprints from the white powdered sugar kind of just on his jeans, which totally gave clear evidence of where he had enjoyed his morning.
What's the place in Webster Groves that basically serves desserts? Gosh, what is that called? Oh, Cyrano's. Oh my gosh, you talk about some desserts. I mean, we've done this where we've gone out to eat and then just gone there for desserts.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, ooh, that's good. Telva at the Ridge has got some great desserts too. Okay, thought 3, kind of a potpourri of items. The president will be giving the family of Charlie Kirk the Presidential Medal of Freedom today. Kirk would have turned 32 today. It's hard to believe he would have turned 32 today. Reports of the Blues' demise, greatly exaggerated. They conquered Canada. Great wins in Calgary and Vancouver. Opening night was an outlier. They will be just fine. And Task Episode 6, released Sunday. Watched it last night. It's off the charts, the best of the 6 episodes so far. I'm so disappointed that we only, I think, have one left. But it's it's become my top series so far of 2025.
And last 10 years, the conservation specialist pretty excited that we started seeing more bear sightings in the Ozark. Black bear had been all but completely gone from natural habitats in Missouri, and they were hoping to see them back. Unfortunately, a couple of not so great things happening. 2 bear attacks happening in the Ozarks area in the last week that killed 2 different people. They were on the Arkansas side of the Ozarks, but one of the man was a Springfield, Missouri man. He was hiking and he didn't come back. His family sent out a search team and discovered that he had died in an apparent bear attack. And then last month, a 72-year-old farmer on his tractor in Arkansas, and a juvenile black bear attacked him, and he did not survive that attack. In better news, one of our favorites, Frank, Chris's Pancake House, going to be expanding, according to the Business Journal this morning, down in South County, where the TGI Fridays used to be. It's going to be a new Chris's Pancake, lucky South County residents. It's just so good. I don't know what they put in those pancakes. I swear it's crack cocaine. It is so good. I can give or take pancakes generally, but those, if I have to have at least some bites of one when I go there because they're so good. And
I can't believe the Saraceno family is opening up another restaurant. It's insane. They are just on a roll. They have another generation of kids in it, but that is just more hats off to them.
Yes, and it's great news that the 2 locations in the city did well enough and they're expanding into the county. That's the kind of stuff we like to see. Finally, also reporting in the Business Journal this morning, if you want to be in the top 1% of Missouri earners, you need an income of, drum roll, $516,150. That's the 39 highest total in the U.S. Over in Illinois, you're even fancier. You got to earn about $699,000 to be considered in the top 1%, and that ranks 13th in the nation.
Just missed, just a little bit
Oh,
off.
I'm just off by several $100,000.
Real quick on desserts. I kind of was slow on that one. Nathaniel Reed croissants, the almond or the chocolate. That's got to be on there for favorite desserts.
What's the one that we love? The Queen
The Queen Amand.
Queen Amand.
Oh yeah, the other thing. Yeah,
The other thing.
The cinnamon and sugar and perfection.
Chocolate drops at Missouri Baking Company, especially when they're warm out of the oven.
Good
what
ones.
was the donut place you brought in recently?
Old Town Donuts.
Yeah.
That was from, and of course, I like John's Donuts too.
Have you ever had anything bad at Bailey's Chocolate Bar?
Of course not.
Oh my gosh.
Somebody else from the 314 saying, Jill, I was thinking, I don't have sweets. And then you mentioned the Turtle Sundae for sure. How about the Old Parkmore and their hot fudge brownie? Pretty famous.
Yeah. It's interesting. We have all these topics today, and in the end, the only people that are responding on the text lines are about beer and dessert. That gives you an idea of where we all are in our lives, and I agree with every one of you.
Have you ever been to Beignet All Day in Webster Groves? They said they have
Really?
excellent beignets and Creole coffee, so I think you need to check that out. Something else you want to check out for sure, Capital Advisory Group, of course, our friend Jeff Zufall and his team, so good at helping you take a look at exactly what's coming in, what's coming out, come up with a strategy, a plan, a budget to be able to reach your retirement goals. And of course, the thing that is even more important about that is they do it from a tax-informed investment and wealth management strategy, because Jeff is a senior tax strategist, a fancy way of saying he understands every one of these tax laws, and he knows how to make sure that you're not overpaying and that you can take advantage of the tax laws that benefit you to make sure that you can build more wealth, cover your expenses now, and have more money to do with it, what you want to do now and for the future. A quick reminder, Keep What's Yours, the show that, of course, Jeff Zufall does with our own Josh Gilbert from the Heidi Glaus Show every single weekend, is going to be at 2 p.m. on Saturday this week because of course, Missouri football, because we are your home of the Missouri Tigers. So make sure you mark your calendar to listen to Jeff and Josh at 2 p.m. on this Saturday. Capital Advisory, grp.com, 636-394-5524.
And now, KTRS weather.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. The warm pattern continues this week. More highs in the 80s. Normal will be near 70, but we're going to get to the low 80s for Tuesday. We'll start off at about 60 degrees. Mild morning, warms up quickly, a high of 82 and partly cloudy skies. Staying dry for Tuesday and Wednesday as well. Partly cloudy Wednesday, a low of 60 and a high of 81. That's the latest on the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton for the Big 550 KTRS.
At Midland, we know sometimes all it takes is a moment for an idea to spark, or to make it happen, a moment to find your dream, or build one, a moment to start your forever, or at least start planning for it. Whatever moments you have, Midland is here for them and can help you make them. Midland, brighter together. Visit us at midlandsb.com. Midland States Bank is member FDIC.
Hi, it's Frank Cusimano inviting you to join me for the Press Box, brought to you by Control Option, Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m. We're going to interview some of the biggest names in sports and have our opening monologue. That's the Press Box, brought to you by Control Option, Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m. right here on the Big 550 KTRS, the talk of St. Louis.
Everyone's talking about these weight loss drugs, and it's a good thing we've got Dr. Joe Molesky with us, a St. Louis native and board-certified primary care physician. Dr. Joe, it can get very confusing, but the one thing we need to know is GLP-1, right? That's the magic cure.
The magic cure is these weight loss shots. They're injected once weekly. They're not like the old medications that you've seen 20, 30 years ago. These medications actually work. They're injected once weekly, and patients see within the first 90 days 10 to 15 pounds down. It simply works, and that's why I recommend it to all of my patients. You simply go online, book an appointment, you fill out a health questionnaire form, you get an appointment on our schedule. It's all telemedicine based. It's all done from your home, and then you meet with me or one of my nurse practitioners, and then after the 10, 15-minute consult, the medication is delivered right to your door discreetly, and you get started right now on your weight loss journey.
And you want to start to lose weight? None better than to call STLMedWeightLoss.com and ask Dr. Joe. STLMedWeightLoss.com.
Hey, it's Heidi, and I've only sold 2 houses, but I know how stressful it can be. I also know the team at Lauren Risley Realty makes the entire process as easy as possible. I watched Lauren work with friends and my parents, and I can say she is top notch. She doesn't just know the market, she knows what to look for in a home, and that includes red flags. And through all of it, she is calm, cool, and kind. So if you're in the market to buy or sell a home, or if you just have a question, call Lauren Risley Realty, 314-775-0684, or go to laurenrisleyrealty.com.
What a great song. Welcome back. This is the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS. Joining us is the great orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Rick Lehman, and a bon vivant, a celebrity around town. Howard sent me on Saturday night while I was having a peanut butter and jelly sandwich a picture of Dr. Rick with Willie McGee, Ozzie Smith, Vince Coleman, Mike Claiborne, Howard Richards, Tom Spitzer. They were at Ruth's Chris having a steak. I hope you felt guilty while I munched on that PBJ.
Oh, man, you would have had a great time. They were telling stories. It was hilarious, just crazy.
And you were at the Mizzou game also, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And what'd you think?
Well, you know, I mean, I think everybody thought. I thought they had a substantial chance to win. They've got the horses. I think there were some coaching issues that could have maybe been handled better. But you know what? This is a real team. This is a real SEC team that could compete. And Alabama, you know, they're historically an icon. So, you know, a lot of people are disappointed. Yes, maybe they should have had a win. But I thought they showed up, and I thought they showed a lot.
So let's talk a little bit about creatine counteracting stress and lost sleep. Since I'm a woman of a certain age, I'm taking it to try to head off that muscle loss that seems to happen this time of year, but this time of life, rather. But you're saying it can actually help some with stress and lost sleep as well.
Well, you know, creatine is an interesting drug or a supplement, and people have used it for years to build muscle, and it's the real deal. It's the most studied supplement out there. Very safe, and for sure it does help you build lean muscle mass. But many of the studies show that there's also a cerebral component to it, A, helping your sleep, and B, in terms of relieving your stress, and it has to do with the way it's absorbed in your gut. So for people out there that are having trouble sleeping, you know, you take your 5 grams of creatine, you cycle through it for 6 weeks, and you see if it helps your sleep. I would also implore those people also to lift a little bit of weights, because I think the exercise also helps your sleep, makes you a little bit more tired, burn a few more calories. And I also think it calms you down. Now, is it just the exercise? Is it the creatine combination? And this study basically tells us that the creatine in and of itself is going to help your sleep patterns, and it's going to help your anxiety.
All right. I run into more people on an everyday basis. Some I work with, and most of them I send right to you, with back issues. And there is a way of going to sleep now that's going to either help you or hurt you. Elaborate, please. Spine surgeons have weighed in on this.
So this is important. This is really important. And the reason is everybody, everyone says, well, you sleep the way you sleep, which isn't really true. There are devices out there that will keep you on your back, that will keep you on your side. And there's 2 or 3 major points. Number one, don't fall asleep on your couch. Don't fall asleep in your recliner. Don't fall asleep in some weird position at your desk. That's a big thing, because you're definitely putting unbelievable load on your spine. Number 2, people that have the healthiest sleep patterns are either side sleepers or back sleepers. And your neck needs to be about 4 or 5 inches off the bed. And that's really critical. So all these people that have cervical spine pain, neck pain, headaches, a lot of it has to do with spinal alignment. And basically, you can either go get a pillow that neutralizes your spine, your neck, or your pillow should be firm and it should be 4 or 5, inches just right off the bed. And if you're a belly sleeper, you're destined to have back pain. Mm-hmm. People that sleep on their belly put their spine and their neck in a compromised position. So what ends up happening is you wake up and over years, you load the joint, you get arthritis, you get some disc problems. So you don't want to sleep on your belly. Better to sleep on your side, but if you have to, you can sleep on your back. Now, the thing the article doesn't tell you is there's devices out there that will keep you in those postural positions. And you go to the back store, you go online, et cetera, and it will make sure that you're in the appropriate position to sleep. But this is critical for not only your back pain, which the article doesn't talk about, but also your sleep patterns. You're going to sleep a lot better if your spine's in a neutral position.
Dr. Rick, you gave us a really good formula, which was simpler than I have been making it in the past, to find out what your maximum heart rate should be, because that we're supposed to be kind of tracking what a heart rate is on our watch or with a heart rate monitor when we're exercising. And you say it's 220 minus your age. So I'm 57. So 220 minus 57 is 163. That's my maximum heart rate. Is it that simple?
It's that simple. I mean, so let's say your maximum heart rate's a little more, a little bit less. Doesn't really make any difference. And you want to exercise probably at about 60% of your MHR, your maximum heart rate. So, you can kind of figure out where you need to be. But that number is the number you have to keep in your mind as your maximal heart rate. And if you want to do some HIIT exercises and go to 95% of that, that's fine. And if you're chronically over that, that's not fine. So if your maximal heart rate's 170, let's say, you don't want to be exercising at 180, 190 on a routine basis. That's going to tax your heart. But it's a very simple formula. Like you said, Jill, 220 minus your age, that gives you your MHR, maximal heart rate. And you want to use that through all your exercises. And what you can then do is you can say, okay, these are the different zones of exercise, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, whatever. And using that number, it will tell you exactly where you need to be. You can ChatGPT it, Google it, and it'll tell you exactly where you need to be.
So Jill was particularly intrigued by something you sent to us called dirty fasting. Then I had to explain to her that it had nothing to do with sexual activity. But can you explain, please, what this is all about?
Oh, man. Yeah, I can see that. So, intermittent fasting has been a huge thing. And intermittent fasting means you pick a certain period of time and you don't eat. And normally, intermittent fasting means under 50 calories. So you can't really drink anything, diet soda, some tea, etc. So let's say you're going to eat every other day. That one day you're not going to eat, you're not allowed to have any calories. So you have to have fluid, so you drink a lot of water. You can have some Diet Coke, whatever, tea, like I said, things that are non-caloric. And a new study shows that in dirty fasting, you probably can have up to 150 to 200 calories in that period of time. So some people will fast, let's say they quit eating at 6 and then they have breakfast and they'll stretch it out till 8. That's 14 hours. And that works. That will help weight control, helps your insulin levels, etc. Very, very good for you. At the end of the day, though, if you were to have, let's say 150 or 200 calories, which could be a lot of different things, some carrots, a Coke, a little bit of popcorn, whatever, that does not interrupt the benefits of intermittent fasting. And the other thing that intermittent fasting, which we haven't really talked about too much, is it definitely coincides with an increase in your longevity. You live longer if you intermittently fast. So at the end of the day, having 150, 200 calories is fine, and that's called dirty fasting. Now, what you can't do is cheat and say, I'll have a Hershey bar or a piece of cake and spike your insulin level. So the things you have to eat have to be low insulin foods, and generally they should be vegetables.
Okay, we got a bunch of questions coming in, so let's try to get as many of those as we can before we have to let you go. Can you speak about this study this is from the 314, showing D2 depletes the immune system during cold and flu season, and D3 should be taken instead?
Yeah, that's important because the D2 decreases your D3, and D3 is the vitamin D that you get from the sunlight. That's the vitamin D you want for your bones and your health. So you have to be careful when you're looking at vitamin D supplements. You don't want D2 because D2 riboflavin is not good for you. So again, at the end of the day, you have to read the label and make sure there's not a lot of D2. D3 is the main component of your vitamin D that you need.
Okay, that is very good stuff. Somebody asking, any options to knee replacement, bone-on-bone cortisone not working?
Absolutely. The options at this point are something called exosomes and PRP and stem cell combination, so it's an injection. We've been using this stuff called Durolane, adding to it, which is a hyaluronic acid. So there are injectable, what we call biologics. The newest thing is these exosomes, and we've been using them on our pro kids like nothing I've ever seen. It's really been amazing. I don't know if it'll help, but certainly that would be the state-of-the-art thing to do if you didn't want to get your knee replaced or your hip replaced. 65-year-olds starting to have some memory issues, very healthy exercises every day. When do you know it's time to go in for testing? I think if you think about it, they always say if you think about it, you do it. So if you are having any memory issues or you're the least bit concerned, worst comes to worst, you get tested and everybody says, well, this is natural aging, don't worry about it. And then you feel better about it, or you get treated. So I think if you think it, you get tested. I would tell that person, go ahead and get tested. It's never too early. Okay, last one. I know we've really packed a lot in here today. 10 days from a minor calf tear, getting an MRI Thursday, still having stiffness on walking. Am I going to be able to go to Hawaii in 3 weeks? Absolutely. You got to go to physical therapy. You may want to talk to your doctor about a PRP injection into the gastroc as soon as possible. But yes, you'll be able to go to Hawaii. Such good stuff, Dr. Rick. As always, we can't wait to have you back next week. Thanks for getting to so many of our questions today. You guys take care. Somebody else is getting all your questions right now, of course, is Ryan Raphael, the Medicare man. He is about to enter the busiest time, not only of the year, but of his life. This thanks to all of our listeners and the people who have turned to Ryan and the word of mouth from all of you, talking about he is the best person when it comes to Medicare questions. And for our enrollment period, which is going to be starting tomorrow, the 15th, goes through December. Now's the time. You've been thinking about it. You've been talking about it. Do you meant to mention it to your brother-in-law who's about to turn 65, your sister-in-law who's about to retire? Put it on your list today. This is the number they can use to reach out to Ryan, 314-368-6808 or MedicareManSTL.com. He is going to be able to help so many of our listeners over this next month-long period. Make sure that you take advantage of all he can do to make this time of life the best it can be, making sure you have the coverage for all your needs. For the right plan, call the Medicare man, Ryan Raphael.
Let's talk about a getaway where you're not spending all the time on the road. How about Innsbruck? Think about it. You could go from your desk to a canoe and do some fishing in about 25, 30 minutes. They've got A-frames, they got tree houses, or if you're looking for a place to live that's away from hustle and bustle, custom homes and condos as well. It is absolutely gorgeous. Have you been out? Have you looked? Go to Innsbruck-resort.com to find your getaway.
From the same guys who brought you the watering bowl, say hello to the number 2 crew. The number 2 crew will visit your yard once a week in St. Louis City, St. Louis County, or St. Charles County, and they'll take care of your dog's business. Think of the number 2 crew as your yard's best friend. 314-717-8880 or the number2crew.com. The number 2 crew reporting for duty each and every week in your backyard. The number 2 crew or the number2crew.com.
You know what they say, you never get a second chance to make a first impression, and windows and doors are usually that first impression when it comes to your home. Dalco Home Remodeling custom makes their windows and doors, and better yet, they make them here in Missouri. Dalco Home Remodeling is locally and family owned, celebrating 50 years, so they know a thing or two. The Dalco team is known for quality and customer satisfaction. That's the way it was 50 years ago when they started, and that's still true today. So if you're looking to change the look of your home without breaking the bank, call Dalco Home Remodeling. They do free in-home estimates. Just call 314-298-7300 and make an appointment. You can also check them out online at dalcohomeremodeling.com. As they've always said, if you buy somewhere else and find out how much you could have saved at Dalco, you'll blow your stack. So call Dalco first, 314-298-7300.
Black Friday savings are underway at appliance discounters. Take an additional 5% off any sale price. Speed Queen, GE Profile, Cafe, Bosch, LG, Frigidaire. It applies to all the brands. Next day delivery and installation, interest-free financing, locally owned, and the largest appliance retailer in St. Louis. 5% off any sale price, 6 locations: Afton, St. Charles, Baldwin, South County, and Maplewood, or online at theappliancediscounters.com. Dr. Joe, it can get very confusing, but the one thing we need to know is GLP-1, right? That's the magic cure.
Yeah, they're on the med, and these medications are used, these GLP-1s, for reducing inflammation in your body. I get so many folks that are like, wow, I don't have the knee pain. I don't have the...
Because once you start losing weight, all these other things naturally happen to you in a positive way. Not just talk about the deals for KTRS listeners at stlmedweightloss.com.
All KTRS listeners, they get $50 to $100 off their first month. And what's beautiful about it too, hey, I get it. The economy, what we just had, guys, things are difficult right now, but we make the plan work for you. We have financing options. We make this work for you because we realize how important it is to get down in your weight, get your confidence back, and really start feeling like the old you.
Call stlmedweightloss.com and ask Dr. Joe. stlmedweightloss.com.
Hey, Heidi Glaus here, asking you to join us weekly as we present the KTRS Book Club, presented by the St. Louis County Library for readers of every generation. Books transport us anywhere our imagination wants to go. They are absolutely magical. The KTRS Book Club will introduce you to local and national authors, events, and special programs presented by the St. Louis County Library every week from 3 to 6 right here on the Big 550 KTRS.
Hank's Cheesecakes, that's on the list from our listeners of the best places to get desserts in town. Got to agree with that as well. Have you ever tried the fabulous croissants at Comet Coffee? Also recommended. That's going to the Comet Coffee.
Okay.
That's right by where your new where the new studios are going to be.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, we are in a good little food place there with Max, the burger place right down the on the road. So that'll be good.
Yeah. Is there any chance that there's going to be now that with the big thing with Nexstar that there will be some kind of a consolidation of locations between stations, or as far as you know, you're going to still have your own Channel 5
we'll have
studios?
Our same. I mean, we'll have our own for sure, and I won't say everybody's looking forward to it. We have so much space. Life is about space and boundaries and privacy, and that's what we have now better than anything. In the new place, whew.
In other words, the sports department doesn't have the eyes of everybody else bothering you guys in your current space, and you're going to in the new space?
There's nothing better than being in that sports office alone from 6:30 to 10 with 4 games on, doors shut. Did I ever tell you this story? One time we had a psycho news director, and she was upset that we did not adapt to the Chiron format that they just changed right away. Like we missed it like the deadline day. So she came in and she took down the doors of the sports office. She had our maintenance guy take down the doors so we didn't have this privacy. And as soon as she got fired, I made a call to the GM, and the GM said, "Put the doors back up." It was unbelievable. So
that was your championship moment there.
You've worked for some psychotic news directors, I'm sure.
Yes, we had some interesting, let's just say interesting characters in the day. It's such a juxtaposition between this diehard old news guy that I had in Des Moines, who was just solid as a rock, to some of the characters we went through in the first couple of years here. But you learn from all of them. You do.
You've heard of tear down that wall. I said, put up those doors. We were back.
Lots more coming up in the show. Do not go away after the news.
Repairing chimneys, walkways, porches, foundations, entire homes, anything to do with brick or stone, you need a tuck pointer you can trust, and that, of course, is Morelli. Morelli is a family-run business started in 1991, and they're only as good as their last customer. That's why when you check out the reviews online at MorelliTuckPointing.com, you'll notice that they're actual customers who are singing the praises of Morelli. So if you need a tuck pointer, you need Morelli. 314-645-1387 or MorelliTuckPointing.com.
If you're looking for your next home, think of First Community. Our Smart Choice Home Loan offers a 30-year fixed rate of just 6.531% APR to qualified borrowers, and you only need a down payment of 10%. Whether it's your first home, your forever home, or even a vacation home, be smart with a Smart Choice loan from First Community for all your savings and all your loans. Must qualify for membership. For terms and conditions, call toll-free 1-888-642-7969. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing lender.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Heidi Klaus, Josh Gilbert, and Bob Ramsey.
Weekday afternoons at 3.
On the Big 550.
Always quiet and always on.
KTRS. Mizzou football.
The rushing touchdown, and Missouri extends the lead.
KTRS AM, FM 1061, K291CW St. Louis.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In Israel, the 20 surviving hostages continue to spend isolated time with family members and are receiving medical evaluations after their release yesterday after more than 2 years in captivity in Gaza. ABC's Ian Pannell says some families, though, are still waiting for word on their loved ones killed in Gaza.
But today isn't a new dawn for everyone here, because most of the deceased hostages were not returned as expected. The bodies of 28 people were supposed to be released by Hamas, those killed over the course of the war, including 2 Americans, Omar Nutra and Itai Chen. But only 4 have been handed back so far to be identified and buried by their families.
In Gaza, Palestinians also returning to their communities and working to get more food and aid as it arrives. Hamas also still in charge of the streets, even as Phase 2 of the U.S. peace plan signed yesterday is in effect, calling for them to disarm. The Senate is back in session today and slated to vote on another stopgap measure to end the government shutdown now 2 weeks in. It comes as economists are warning there are signs the government shutdown is starting to impact the economy, and it could collide with new tariffs kicking in today on lumber, furniture, and other wood products. ABC's Rebecca Jarvis has more on President Trump's overall tariffs.
Goldman Sachs crunched the numbers on this. Consumers are bearing the highest burden. They will pay by the end of this year more than half of the burden, 55%, and then into next year, they will pay 70% of that burden. You've got businesses paying a small portion and then international countries paying an even smaller portion.
In Pennsylvania, Cody Balmer, the suspect in the firebomb attack on the official residence of Governor Josh Shapiro, pleaded guilty in court. He pleaded guilty of aggravated arson, 22 counts of arson for each person within the residence that was endangered in the April 13th attack. Shapiro and his family had hosted a Passover Seder that weekend. You're listening to ABC News.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
76 degrees at 11:03 with KTRS News. I'm Steve Potter. Homicide detectives have been called to investigate a case after a man was found dead in a house fire in South St. Louis. Firefighters responded to a call of a burning home in the 5900 block of Southwest Avenue just after 5:30 this morning. Fire officials found the body and say a hoarding situation made it difficult to fight the fire. In preparation for the upcoming winter season, the Missouri Department of Transportation will conduct its annual winter operations drills tomorrow and on Thursday. MoDOT snow removal vehicles will be traveling throughout the St. Louis area on state highways and routes beginning at 9 a.m. MoDOT reports that fighting winter storms and clearing roads is one of its most critical functions, and that you can always check MoDOT's traveler information map before you hit the road. The U.S. Air Force is feeling the effects of the Boeing strike in the St. Louis area.
The ongoing Boeing strike is delaying the fighter jet production in the St. Louis area. General Kenneth Wilsbach told the U.S. Senate Armed Services Committee in written testimony that deliveries of F-15EX fighter jets had been anticipated this year, but, quote, are being delayed due to the ongoing Boeing strike. Boeing workers began walking the picket lines on August 4th. No new talks have been scheduled to end this labor dispute. Jill Enders, KTRS News.
Missourians eligible for Medicare are being encouraged to review their plan options and costs during this year's open enrollment period, which begins today and runs through December 7th. Free assistance is now available through Missouri's State Health Insurance Assistance Program. And as Halloween approaches, there are some tips about how you can be sure that cannabis edibles aren't mistaken for candy.
Cannabis items like edibles can sometimes get mistaken for sweets. Last year, Missouri passed regulations on packaging for marijuana-related products. The rules include edible packages can only be one color, but they can have up to 2 logos of different colors, and the word marijuana must be prominently printed on the outside. Cannabis experts say the key in packaging is to look for resealable packages because candy wrappers do not have resealable packages. Cannabis does. If you think a child may have consumed an edible containing THC, call the Poison Control Center hotline immediately at 800-222-1222. Sobey Bay, KTRS News.
St. Louis Taco Week began today. A number of area restaurants are taking part and offering discounts on tacos and beverages through Sunday. Organizers say that Taco Tuesdays aren't enough. This KTRS Business Minute brought to you by Walter Knoll Florist, the place for all your floral needs. Place your order anytime at WKF.com. The large construction project at New Pogue Road in Illinois 3 in Hartford is progressing, and construction should wrap up in the second quarter of 2026. The project is a 134,000 square foot warehouse and distribution center for LKQ Corporation, a provider of auto parts. And now a look at the markets brought to you by JBL Financial. Tune in to Straight Talk on Retirement Saturday mornings from 9 to 11. The Dow up 165 points at 46,234. NASDAQ down 120 at 22,574. And the S&P 500 down 9 at 6,645. In sports, Mizzou basketball senior Mark Mitchell has been named preseason second-team All-SEC. Mitchell averaged nearly 14 points and 5 rebounds per game for the Tigers last year. And the Blues play the Blackhawks tomorrow night. Our forecast calls for sunny skies today, A high of 84, mostly clear tonight with an overnight low in the low 60s, and sunny tomorrow with a high in the mid-80s. Right now it's 7 minutes past 11 o'clock, sunshine, 76 degrees at the Gold Tower at Westport. Steve Potter, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
And welcome back. This is the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS. On Tuesdays, we talk with Joe Holloman from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Joe, before we get to some news items, a couple of our light topics today. Worst beer you can ever remember sampling or drinking maybe as a young man, and best dessert place in St. Louis, or favorite dessert.
Worst beer, 905 beer.
Wow.
If you remember the old
Yep.
905 liquor stores,
Brentwood.
and they were ubiquitous. And the best part about it was they were half the price of a regular 6-pack, and tasted at least twice as bad. So, but in those beggars can't be choosers days,
Yeah.
when it came down to a 12-pack of 905 or a 6-pack of something else, I will shamefully admit that quite often we went for the 12-pack of 905.
And maybe with a fake ID also?
No, I would never admit to that. That sounds like a crime, Frank. I would no, sir. It was all legal purchases, every single one of them.
All right.
Or standing out in front going, "Hey, man, can you?" Never mind. Don't even want to go down those roads. Best dessert places. My favorite dessert was Velvet Freeze ice cream.
Oh yeah.
But probably place. I'd got to go with Cyrano's. Is probably the only place I ever went to for specifically to get desserts. More of a meat and potatoes guy. So the Cyrano's was probably the place I went to specifically for desserts. But Velvet Freeze, which there's only one left up around Ferguson, used to have 2 flavors of ice cream that I absolutely adore. One was called Swiss chocolate, not chocolate chip, but Swiss chocolate that had this dark, bitter chocolate shavings in it. And then they had a chocolate that was almost black that was called Gold Coast chocolate. And that was my double scoop. That's the double scoop they serve in heaven, is a scoop of Gold Coast and a scoop of Swiss chocolate from Velvet Freeze. So
Very nice.
Okay, so let's.
I love these questions, by the way.
Well,
I love these questions.
we love them too, and you were not the only person who mentioned 905. A lot of our listeners apparently were fully aware of what a great deal that was, for sure. You've been doing lots of good reporting, and I could not believe the list that you reported on in today's story of people vying for a job that has become available. It is they're trying to fill that St. Louis County Circuit Court judge opening that happened when its former the predecessor moved into the U.S. Attorney's Office. Fill us in.
Yeah, Tom Albus was a St. Louis County Circuit Court judge, full circuit court, not an associate, and moved to become the U.S. District Attorney. So there's this spot open, and who knows how many actually ended up applying. But on the what they call the long list, there were 17 names of folks. And what will happen is later this month, a judicial commission will interview all 17. Then they'll come up with a list of their 3 picks, and then it's up to Governor Mike Kehoe to actually pick one of those 3. And a couple of names jumped out. There's a lot of associate circuit judges on there, and I'm sure all the names are known to people in the business. But some names jumped out. The one was Dean Plocker, former House Speaker, Missouri House Speaker from Des Peres, who kind of got sideways a year or so ago with a bidding process where he was investigated by the Ethics Commission for a whistleblower who said she had been fired and sort of harassed out of her job by Speaker Plocker because she asked questions about a bidding process that was skipped over that ended up directing a contract toward one of Mr. Plocker's contributors. But he's put his name in the hat for that judgeship. Another one was a woman named Susan Peterson, who I wrote about several stories. She was a prosecutor for about 20-something years under Bob McCullough, and when Wesley Bell took over, she was one of 5 women who ended up suing and getting awards, saying that they were basically let go because of their age, their race, and their gender. And some of them settled out of court for a certain amount of money. Susan Peterson was taking it to court, and as Wesley Bell was running for a U.S. representative, Susan Peterson was, dead set on taking this case to court and to to make her argument in front of the judge. Instead, ended up eventually settling for $500,000 to where the out of court settlement, but those amounts of out of court settlements with governments have to be disclosed, and it was $500,000. Her name is in the hat is in the ring for that job. And then the other one is Teresa Baumkamp, who is the twin sister of Melissa Price Smith, who is now the county prosecuting attorney. A lot of folks, if you were looking at our paper or on television when Miss Smith took over from Wesley Bell as prosecutor, there was a lot of pictures of this woman who obviously was her twin sister. Well, that was Teresa Baumkamp, who was a longtime prosecutor under Bob McCullough and now works in private practice. So those were 3 of the 17 names that kind of jumped out as would be interesting. And sometime, I would imagine, before the end of the year, we'll get the 3 names, and then Governor Kehoe will make his choice.
Okay, so the husband of Cori Bush wants the felony charges filed against him dropped because, quote, they were influenced by politics instead of justice.
Yes.
What do you think? How serious are the charges? I mean, if they're felony charges, they're pretty serious business. Where do you think this stands?
Well, they are federal charges, and federal prosecutors are notorious for not going to court unless they have a pretty good case. The conviction rate in federal court is extremely high. Is basically saying during COVID, got $21,000. They're saying inappropriately 2 counts of wire fraud. They're felonies. He's scheduled to go to trial in January. To me, this is sort of, other than that the name, because Cori Bush has said, hey, I'm going to run again against the guy who beat me, Wesley Bell. There's this case hanging out there. And the motion to dismiss really comes as no surprise. Personally, I would fire my attorney if they didn't file a motion to dismiss. Motion dismisses are one of those things, why not? You go through a lawsuit and there's a couple. One says that you're going after me for political purposes, called selective prosecution, and that would be a violation of constitutional law. Another count of the motion to dismiss says that the charges aren't specific enough, and that lack of specificity doesn't allow Courtney Merritt's, her husband, doesn't allow Mr. Merritt's a chance to prepare a good defense. A motion to dismiss, most of those are usually denied, and they'll say, let's go to court. And if you're innocent, you're innocent. If you're not, you're not. But it's an expected move. I would expect an attorney, any attorney, in just about any case to file a motion to dismiss. It costs you nothing to say, hey, let's just toss this out. And maybe you do get it tossed out, and then, problem solved. If not, you go ahead and move on to the court date as well. So I think it's not so much interesting for the gravitas of the suit, other than the fact that it's involving Cori Bush and her husband. And if Cori Bush were not running for office again, people would be paying less attention to it.
Yeah, and if he's found guilty, it's got to have an effect on the August 2026 Democratic primary. And how is she polling as we speak?
Well, it's so early. We're waiting for, and it may not be in there, the reports are due tomorrow for congressional representatives, October 15th, for fundraising through September. And but she didn't announce until early October, so don't know what's going to be reflected in these reports that are due tomorrow. I mean, it seems to be the general discussion amongst people is they believe that Representative Bell, being the incumbent, is going to be the favorite again. A couple of the reasons being is that Ms. Bush, when you talk to people who said they voted against her, and these are people who voted for her once or twice, said she didn't really bring anything back home. She seemed more interested in building a national reputation with the squad, with AOC, Rashida Tlaib, becoming a celebrity, if you will, seemed more dedicated to that than actually bringing home the bacon to the district. So that was a complaint that was popping up both before and then right after the election. The other thing is I think that probably doesn't work in any Democratic challenger's favor, is Democrats, the national Democrats, are going to be wanting to spend their money to defeat Republicans in 2026. I think everybody's kind of agreed that it's crucial when you don't have the White House, you don't have the Senate, and you don't have the House. Here's a chance for the Democrats to at least get some leverage. Of right now, they have none. If they can regain the House in 2026, then that gives them a stopgap, a check against the Republicans. So I think when it comes to national Democratic money, they're not going to be looking to pouring money into a primary race for Democrats to beat Democrats. And it's going to be more focused on beating Republicans in November. So I think those are a couple of things that are working against Ms. Bush. Then again, nobody thought Cori Bush would defeat Lacey Clay back in 2020. So I've kind of come down. I always conclude that I used to think I was pretty good at predicting elections until 2016. Donald Trump was nowhere on my dance card. And as he wasn't with so many people, and not only has he been elected once, he's been elected twice. But I would think the odds are against her. But as far as polling numbers, I haven't seen or heard of any, other than people saying is I think Wesley Bell will probably be reelected.
Yeah, I go back to that Bill Maher segment where Bill had Ann Coulter on, and this was, quite a bit of time before the election. And Bill Maher asked Ann Coulter, who do you think will be the Republican nominee for president? And she said Donald Trump. And the whole group, they all just howled. They howled laughing. Who would have thought that would ever come true?
Well, you remember my reaction was after he won the primary, I still was like, oh, come on. Hillary Clinton's going to beat him handily. I still didn't believe it. And I always feel that the people who predicted it, and kudos to Ann Coulter, but I always figured one way to get yourself to stand out amongst the pundits is to make the most outrageous prediction and then hope like hell it comes true. Because if you pick the favorite, nobody remembers that, oh, okay, you picked the favorite to win. But if out of the blue I say, I think it's going to be Bob Jones, who nobody's ever heard of, and by some happenstance Bob Jones wins, I become a genius immediately. You know? So
good thought.
So it's always tough to pick what the elections are, but I do think the thing that I've heard from most people is that national Democratic money is not going to be looking at fighting primary races between Democrats in 2026.
That's
which
why
does not bode well for Cori Bush.
Yeah, that's why I'm on record as picking the New York Jets to win the Super Bowl now.
There you go. You'll be a genius, Frank. If they come through, they'll go, man, that Cusimano knows what he's talking about.
Good stuff, sir. We'll talk next week. Thank you so much.
See you guys.
All right. Joe Holloman.
Speaking of good stuff, we know the place that has the really good stuff, and that is Miller Furniture. A friend of mine, when you get into that empty nest stage, you get the last kid sent off to college, a lot of times families will be like, okay, now is the time to replace the carpet in that family room downstairs because it has taken a licking. I had a friend that did that recently. Once they replaced the carpet, they realized the couch was really worse for wear as well. And so I got that text that I love getting. What's the name of that furniture store that you think is so great and you bought your furniture from and you talk about them on the radio? Easy. That is Miller Furniture, Mueller. And of course, I love them because they have such great quality at such great prices. Amish-made furniture, right? It can be custom made for you in the wood grain you want, in the upholstery that you want. You can design something in your space at home that is unique, that is perfect, and that fits the space so well. All you have to do is bring in your measurements, and their incredible team at Miller Furniture can help you scale it correctly for the space in your home, for your needs as they've changed. Maybe you don't need that giant pit set that you can fit 12 teenagers on for movie night at your house. You want something a little more streamlined that leaves a little more space in the room. They can help you find it. Miller Furniture, 4 locations. Of course, they've got the 55,000 square foot showroom in Fairview Heights, flagship location in Belleville, Illinois. And then on the Missouri side, of course, Lake St. Louis at the Meadows, and in Ellisville off Manchester Road. Do a little shopping at millerfurniture.com, Mueller furniture.com.
Hey, it's Heidi, and I've only sold 2 houses, but I know how stressful it can be. I also know the team at Lauren Risley Realty makes the entire process as easy as possible. I watched Lauren work with friends and my parents, and I can say she is top notch. She doesn't just know the market, she knows what to look for in a home, and that includes red flags. And through all of it, she is calm, cool, and kind. So if you're in the market to buy or sell a home, or if you just have a question, call Lauren Risley Realty, 314-775-0684, or go to laurenrisleyrealty.com.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Okay, all signed up. Easy. Now let's run payroll. What the? Hey girl, I'm you with more gusto. Nice. Who's that? New social media manager, hired and onboarded with gusto. And spoiler, we're kind of famous now. Wait, we're famous? Oh, well, I'm famous. Payroll, benefits, and HR. Designed and built for small businesses. Choose a future with gusto.
It's Julie Buck here to tell you that the patio is open at Bishop's Post right next to Chesterfield Mall. Get your reservations in now and go to Bishop's Post. You will love it. Tell them Julie Buck sent you, bishopspost.com.
Have you seen all the 5-star reviews Michael's Baths has gotten on Google? How about their A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau? Everyone, including the nanny, raves about Michael's friendly office staff and their experienced installation team. With over 30 years of experience, all they do is bathrooms. They're not trying to be the biggest. They just want to be the best. Right now, get a free shower door or $500 off your bathroom remodel. Call Michael's Baths, 636-775-0800 or michaelsbaths.com.
St. Louis is home to more than 80,000 University of Missouri St. Louis alumni, where they drive the region's economy and contribute to its social and cultural well-being. At UMSOL, more is what moves us. Find your more at more.umsl.edu.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset. Few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation, 314-569-1050. And have a banner day.
The Bommarito Automotive Group is Missouri's #1 automotive group. They've sold over 1 million vehicles by giving you a better price, a better selection, and more for your trade. You can shop them online, see their entire inventory at bommarito.com.
Want a song?
You're on my mind like the song on the radio.
Want a quote? It's the song and quote of the day on the Frank and Jill Show. Right here on the Big 550 KTRS.
Welcome back, everybody. Second hour of the Frank and Jill Show. Jill Farmer, Frank Cusimano, Connor McCarthy here as well. We were, as we mentioned yesterday, the farmers were up in Michigan over the weekend, enjoying just a little weekend getaway. And our friends that were there told us a great story. We were in Muskegon, a couple hours south of the city of Cadillac, Michigan. But many of you out there listening may remember this. 50 years ago this week, Kiss, the band Kiss, ended up playing the homecoming dance at Cadillac High School as part of a huge publicity stunt. One of their assistant coaches was a big Kiss fan when they were coming out in that mid-'70s era and had reached out to them and said, hey, our team isn't doing as well as we were a couple of years ago, but they're all big fans of Kiss, which, of course, is a Detroit band. And so it'd really help our program if you guys would ever consider coming over here to Cadillac to playing a concert. And as part of a publicity stunt that ended up really making a splash and getting a lot of coverage. Sure enough, the band Kiss came and played Homecoming for the kids at Cadillac High School. People said that you could hear the concert a couple of miles away. Do you remember that story at all?
I do not. It's interesting.
The song that they were releasing around that time in that fall of 1975. Many of you remember that. Is this one? Imagine you did a little headbanging to that tune, warming up before the games in the late 70s. Is that accurate?
I don't know if I remember that one so much at the Smet games. I remember Chicago always being played in the pregame. But yeah, that's a great song though, really famous, and I think they're the best.
What
like,
Chicago song
I just
was
remember in
your
the layup
warm-up?
line? Some of those songs being played.
It's a different time. You weren't really getting, hyped up. You were just kind of putting on some mellow rock for the layup line.
Really, I was going to say at least. I mean, we were at least doing the Pointer Sisters jump and blasting that through our boom boxes and the microphone in the gym before our
that was a little bit after me. Yeah, but I remember being in the layup line.
That was no walk up song. It was just nice background music for you guys. You didn't need that warm up. Many parents, grandparents, you guys are having the conversations with kids and grandkids. What are you going to dress for Halloween? Do you have any idea what Zoe Spencer or KK are going to be for Halloween? Have you had any of those conversations yet?
They told me, but I don't even know what it is or what it was. So.
The reference went over your head, which
Yes.
princess they were going to dress up as this year. I remember thinking my kids, and I'd love to hear from you guys on the Royal Banks of Missouri text line, my kids would have a costume, we'd start getting it together, and then they would change their mind, and then there was always this battle of, no, you have to stick with that. When I was a kid, it was just like, oh, my best friend's neighbor's mom, 20 years before, had sewn a Raggedy Ann and Andy costume for her two kids. So my best friend Kristen and I were Raggedy Ann and Andy, and I got to be Andy because I was taller. I didn't really want to be, but that was no choice. And then it fit the next year, so that's what I wore that year. There was no vote. The kid got no vote. Jerry Seinfeld, quote of the day, we thought it'd give you a little bit of laugh. Here's his recollections from dressing up for Halloween as a kid. Keep it up, it's good. Isn't that good?
It's great.
Did you ever have any of the plastic masks with the rubber band around the back? Were you ever the Incredible Hulk or any of those that required a mask?
Don't remember that. I usually went as Joe Namath was my favorite sports costume. Had the Jets helmet and the jersey. So.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, that was Geisler Jordan, the sporting goods store in Clayton. Yeah, it was my favorite, probably jersey as a child. Yeah.
So you got from the fancy store in Clayton. You got your Halloween costumes. I got mine from the neighbor's basement at my best friend's house, not even my own.
Zoe is going to be Moana, a Disney character.
Oh.
Spencer is going to be a pumpkin, and KK is going to be a little chick.
Oh, so cute. You have to definitely bring in pictures so we can see that.
I mean, at what age do you start to get to choose your costume, though? Because they're kind of young. So, is this them deciding for them? Maybe
No.
Moana not, but the other one's, little chick,
Yeah.
She's a baby. She's only
She
going to
doesn't
be
even know
3
what's
months
going on.
old. No,
but
she's just going to look really,
a
really
pumpkin,
cute.
that's kind of, I don't know if any kid wants to be a pumpkin.
No, those are chosen for them. But then
And
once
it's Zoe's old costume, so.
once they turn 2, I would say 3, they start to have some strong feelings. So my nephew went as a Green Bay Packer, and he was visiting us from out of town. We were babysitting for a nephew and niece, and he was about 3 or 4, and he had the pads on. and the whole uniform. And John was holding his hand walking down the street by our house. And he said, Ben, hold on to my hand. Don't run away. And Ben was a little bit of a stinker. He takes off and he falls in one of the sewers. We had really big sewers around our house and all of it. And he's there, and the pads on his football uniform just held him there. And he got this look on his face of pure terror. John walks over, plucks him out, and says, I told you, don't let go of Uncle John's hand. And he held on. And for years, my sister joked that when they would walk down the street or walk to the park, he always gave really big clearance to those to the storm sewers because he never wanted to have that happen.
Those shoulder pads, I'm just envisioning it right now.
It's a true story. Very, very much still lives on in the Farmer family lore.
Was he Brett Favre? Do you remember the?
No, he was pretty little, so I think it was just
Aaron Rodgers or something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even remember what the name. I mean, I think it was just one of those like the kind that you get that doesn't even necessarily have the name on the back. But he sure looked cute, but it kind of also proved to be a lifesaver for him as well.
Gosh, that's great.
Okay, we have a lot more coming up in the show with you, but before we so don't go away, but before we let you go, McKnight Place. We've been talking about it. Of course, I really, my family has been going through this whole decision-making process of getting my folks into assisted living, and we discovered all places are not equal. Sure wish that my parents were in St. Louis because I know exactly where we would go, and I know exactly the decision we would make, and that's because McKnight Place just checks all of the boxes, and that's what we kept running into. Finding a place for them out of state was some of the boxes would get checked, but not all of the boxes. And that's one of the things that McKnight Place really prides themselves on, is helping families solve all the problems that they have when they are transitioning loved ones, or when loved ones are transitioning themselves into that supported living that is sometimes needed in the later part of their lives, whether it's assisted living with minimal support, or whether it's skilled nursing, memory care at places like Park Provence or McKnight Place Living. They can take care of the needs. They can take care of the assessments. They do it all the time, so they can step in, and the experts help with medical intervention where needed as well. You just need to start the conversation, and you do that by visiting McKnightPlace.com or 314-993-3333.
Let's talk about a getaway where you're not spending all the time on the road. How about Innsbruck? Think about it. You could go from your desk to a canoe and do some fishing in about 25, 30 minutes. They've got A-frames, they got tree houses, or if you're looking for a place to live that's away from hustle and bustle, custom homes and condos as well. It is absolutely gorgeous. Have you been out? Have you looked? Go to Innsbruck-resort.com to find your getaway.
Your dentures no longer fit? Maybe you're missing a tooth or several teeth. Visit Dr. Bowen for Simply Secure Dentures and Dental Implants, the cutting-edge, high-quality dental implants that replace all the teeth in your mouth, and it starts as low as $7,000, not the $35,000 that others charge. If you're only missing a few teeth, Dr. Bowen can permanently replace those with something you don't have to take in and out of your mouth. Learn more at simplysecuredentures.com and get the care you need and the teeth you want at Bowen Dental Care or simplysecuredentures.com.
Zero is your hero at HW Kia. Zero down, zero payments for 90 days, or 0% for 48 months. Even zero tariff pricing on every clearly marked new HW Kia in stock. Stuck in your loan or lease? Big D, the trade man, wants to get you released. Up to 120% over fair market value for your trade. Have a job clearing $450 a week? You're practically approved. Only at HWKia.com. Unapproved credit, not all qualified. Plus tax, title, license, 587, title, and registration process. Negative equity, refinanced, and new loan. Expires September 6, 2025. Zero is your hero at HW Kia. Zero down, zero payments for 90 days, or 0% for 48 months. Even zero tariff pricing on every clearly marked new HW Kia in stock. Have a job clearing $450 a week? You're practically approved. Lease a new Seltos S, Nero LX, or Soul, just $99 a month. And you guessed it, zero security deposit. Only at HWKia.com. Unapproved credit, not all qualified. Plus tax, title, license, 587, title, and registration process. Negative equity, refinanced, and new loan. 24 months, 10,000 mile lease. 49.95 due. Offers not a combination. Expires September 6, 2025.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
You've seen the movies Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick. Have you always wondered what it would be like to be a Top Gun instructor or pilot? Now is your chance at the National Museum of Transportation. On October 15th at 7 p.m., Captain Kevin Proton McLaughlin, United States Navy retired former commander of Top Gun and technical advisor to the movie Top Gun Maverick, will be the featured speaker. Tickets are $30. Reserve your spot now online at tnmot.org at the National Museum of Transportation.
You might know Graybar for cable and connectivity, but there's one more thing you should know us for that can help optimize your project's total value, like our comprehensive electronic solutions for security, AV, wireless, and networking, or our specialized job site services, like material staging and kitting, or maybe our logistics specialists who can help you identify efficiencies and ensure just-in-time delivery. So consider what one more thing you may need to optimize your bottom line and get to know us for that. Yep, Graybar does that.
Welcome back, everybody. Little Kiss, Detroit Rock City, one of my faves. Did you know that song at all with your Detroit roots family there?
I'm aware of the song, of course. I've heard it. I don't really know if I considered Kiss a Detroit band. I know obviously they're from there, but in my mind, I never really thought of them like that.
Yeah, well, I mean that's true with a lot of bands. There's
They
where their roots are,
so
and then they
big,
get
and
so
it was
big.
just kind of from all over.
Nobody else but the people who are from that hometown tend to hold on to
Right.
that information as much as everybody else does. By the way, you're back. The last section here of the Frank and Jill show. Jill Farmer, Frank had to go out. He is going to MC the Quarterback Club lunch gathering. They're excited to hear his comments and words today. So Connor and I holding down the fort for the last part of the show today. From the 636 on the Royal Banks of Missouri text line, KISS also played at our high school, because a little bit earlier in the show we mentioned that they played at Cadillac High School in Michigan in 1975 and got a lot of press coverage for that. So apparently KISS played at high schools in the 70s.
Well, it also mentions that the opening act was Rush, which is a hell of a lineup. I mean, I don't think high schools are getting that kind of performances nowadays.
No,
even
let's just
comparatively.
say at Fairfield High School in Fairfield, Iowa, we did not have any famous band members. We had the guys in our classes band, which
Right,
they only had
yeah.
one amp and only one input work, so there was only one guitarist at a time that could actually
That's kind of
be,
what I would expect from a high school production.
Yeah,
I
amplified.
Not expecting
and
KISS.
Then over time, a couple other guys had paper routes. They were able to buy amps. So by the time we were seniors, they were rocking pretty hard. But it was a rough start. We're talking about Halloween costumes. What are the Halloween costumes you remember having as a kid versus what you see your kids or grandkids? This is a cute one from the 314. I have a mermaid, Moana, and a ghost coming to Nana's house this year, and some really fun, the whole show. I'm hearing of some beers that I've never heard of before in the worst beer category from Frank's question.
Maybe you don't want to hear about them.
Yeah.
Apparently they were terrible.
Gold Label is one that I had not heard about. And the listeners asking the rest of you, do you guys think that was a grocery store no name? And then a couple more votes for Stag, and then 905, which is the aforementioned by Joe Holloman, the generic beer that was, of course, only available at one liquor store in town.
We're 2 weeks into October. Do you have Halloween decorations up, or do you even do that? Period. I know you don't have kids in the house anymore. What do you do for Halloween?
We've got the pumpkins and mums and kind of and some fall like
very
wreaths.
stylish fall decorations.
I don't,
then.
but our next door neighbors who are really fun and have a 6-year-old, and they're big Halloween people themselves. Although the first couple of years they were there, they didn't have kids yet, and they had both really scary costumes, and they wondered why some of the kids were like screaming and crying from their house.
They
and I
weren't
was
happy.
like,
yeah.
you guys are as not being parents yet, you're not quite aware that some kids kids find that scary stuff scary. They've toned that down, but it was great. They've got the big spider webs, and they've got the skeletons, and they've got it all. They're all decked out. So
how many kids come by you in Lafayette Square?
A lot.
Trick or treating.
Yeah,
Really?
We get a ton, which we love, and traditionally we put our one of our favorite things to do is we make about 50 to 75 hot dogs, wrapping up in tin foil, and then have a giant pot of chili. And until we run out, we always offer hot dogs and chili to the parents.
Okay.
And maybe a beverage until those run out as well. And
free hot dogs and chili. Maybe I'll be in Lafayette Square.
Yes, you should. And a lot of the parents always say, thank you. I came home from work and I didn't have time to eat dinner, so I'm stealing the kids' candy, and they're getting mad at me. So we started that tradition, I don't know, even before we had kids, and it's one we have continued. I used to do peanut butter sandwiches and jelly because that was my favorite when I was a kid at school. I loved dipping my peanut butter sandwich in the chili. And
oh, wait, with the chili?
Yes, that was...
No, I was on board. It was like with the sandwiches.
I know.
No.
I've said this before on the air, and people have reacted strongly. You know, going to elementary school in the 70s, we had government surplus, and so we had a lot of things like bread because there was a lot of flour, white bread, and peanut butter.
Okay.
And they would serve it with, really, I think the chili was quite good at school lunches, and so we all got in the habit of dipping our peanut butter sandwiches in the chili. It's very good. Do not knock it until you have tried it.
I'd eat them separately. It sounds sounds great separately.
But we stopped doing that because so many kids have peanut allergies. Okay. So we were trying to...
This text mentions that they have a grandson going into traffic cone.
Oh.
And I thought, I like that.
And then Schaefer's Light Beer has made about, that apparently was a generic brand sold at Walgreens. So when you were looking for the cheapest of the cheap. And
Walgreens had a generic brand of beer. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
And that's where people said they would swing by. I wonder if they were a little less picky with the carding of the IDs at places like Walgreens too. Sometimes that is where. Somebody from the 314 never understood the connection of peanut butter sandwiches and chili. I had the same thing at school in the 70s, but apparently this listener was not dipping it as I was back in the day.
Well, why would you? I don't understand. I've had plenty of items that come, we had a lot of, we ate the same lunches every week, right? But we never think to just combine them and start eating them together.
It's kind of that. It's sort of a sweet and savory mix kind of thing. I mean, have you ever had Little Smokies in that jelly sauce?
Yeah, but that's not really a jelly sauce. That's kind of like a cocktail sauce, It's
no, I'm talking about the grape jelly.
Oh, no, I have not.
Okay, so and again, the listeners.
This is another gross one.
Listeners can back me up. It was, again, if you were having a dinner party, or maybe having a party, and you had a lot of appetizers out in the 70s and 80s. There was a recipe that was very popular that involved Little Smokies in sort of a sweet jelly sauce.
You would get like Welch's jelly.
And you would mix it together maybe with some other spices, and it would turn into kind of a sauce inside of a crock pot. And that was I don't
know. I didn't hate peanut butter on a burger, actually, like I thought I would. I had it a couple years ago for the first time. So maybe I shouldn't judge this too harshly, but it's hard to wrap my head around.
We do have quite a few people coming through. A lot of our texters, chili and PB butter in the loo too. I did that on chili day at school. Peanut butter was the best. 67 still do it. Absolutely dip peanut butter sandwiches in chili. I'm 55 and I still do it. So you're fair. It's fair to say, Connor McCarthy, that this is a very weird practice and that nobody should be doing this. It's also fair to say that a lot of us did it and we like it. Back to that early discussion we had about things you grew up with that you like, that when you try to introduce this to somebody else, are like, thanks, don't put me down for that. I think this is in that category.
When you tried to get your kids to like the peanut butter and jelly and chili, did they go along with it or no?
Well, the thing about the school peanut butter, at least at our school, it was just kind of a thick peanut butter on the white bread. Okay. It was not jelly. And no, my kids always thought it sounded gross and would never dip their peanut butter sandwiches in chili as well. So it has not passed on to the next generation.
Text says they did meatballs in the jelly sauce. This is just very common to just throw peanut butter and jelly with whatever food item.
Yeah, but there was that was separate. That was just jelly. That was meatballs in the jelly sauce.
This also says grape jelly and yellow mustard with the yellow smoky. Well, now we're just adding more and more different flavors. It's interesting.
And some folks do put peanut butter in chili. Some people use it as kind of a thickening
I have
agent.
kind of heard that, like, mixed in. I don't know how much peanut flavor really comes across. It's the dipping aspect that I think gets me.
Well, before we let you go, coming up after this next break, we're going to tell you a good story that I think is interesting. It warms my former consumer reporter heart, that involves investigations by the state of Missouri and Dollar General stores. You want to stick around for that. But first, here's something that it's worth grabbing your pen and paper and writing this down. $500 off if you mention KTRS for a full roof replacement at TB Exteriors. We love deals, and we love being able to say that TB Exteriors loves our KTRS listeners. They love it when you guys reach out to them, and they love you so much that they want to give you $500 off for a full roof replacement. And one of the things that makes TB Exteriors stand out in the crowd, many things: quality customer service, the ability to work really well with your insurance agents, but also this one. CertainTeed, which of course is considered by many to be the best of the best when it comes to the quality of roof shingles. In order to be a select shingle masters with CertainTeed, all of your employees at a roofing company have to go through a very stringent testing program, and that allows the company to offer you as the consumer the highest level warranties. And all of our locations in Missouri, in our listening area served by TB Exteriors, you can know that you are getting the highest qualified technicians putting on the best CertainTeed shingles on your home, and that gives you the highest level warranty along with a $500 off. It's just a deal you can't refuse. Call TB Exteriors today, 636-362-9503, or visit tbexteriorsmo.com.
And now, KTRS weather.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. The warm pattern continues this week. More highs in the 80s. Normal will be near 70, but we're going to get to the low 80s for Tuesday. We'll start off at about 60 degrees. Mild morning, warms up quickly, a high of 82 and partly cloudy skies. Staying dry for Tuesday and Wednesday as well. Partly cloudy Wednesday, a low of 60 and a high of 81. That's the latest on the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton for the Big 550 KTRS.
Hey, it's Julie Buck for our friends at Triad Bank. They are a full-service financial institution, and they've been in St. Louis for over 20 years with 2 locations, one at Clayton and Lindbergh, and the other one just west of 270 on Olive. If you've got your own business and you want to have a better banking experience, look no further than Triad Bank. Their mission is to provide a wide range of commercial and personal banking services to you and your business. For more, go to triadbanking.com.
John Beal Roofing has been proudly serving homeowners and businesses in the St. Louis metro area on both sides of the river in Missouri and Illinois for over 3 generations. A dependable roof begins with a team you can count on, and that's exactly what you get with John Beal Roofing. Recognized as one of Roofing Contractor Magazine's top 100 roofing companies, John Beal Roofing offers 24/7 emergency service and industry-leading warranties, including a lifetime workmanship warranty for total peace of mind. From upgrading an aging roof or completing a full replacement, the team at John Beal Roofing delivers solutions that are built to code, built to last, and handled with expert care. John Beal also responds quickly with reliable storm damage services backed by decades of experience and 24/7 emergency support. Get started today for expert service and a free, no-obligation estimate by calling 1-800-NEW-ROOF. That's 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
Hi, it's David Sherwood of the Inside Out Show and president of Sherwood's Forest on Barrett Station Road, just south of Manchester. Fall planting season is here now. We are fully stocked with the area's largest selection of evergreens, Japanese maples, magnolias, and shade trees. Choose from lilac trees, sugar maples, birch, October glory, hornbeams, and crab to provide summertime shade and great fall and spring color. At Sherwood's Forest, you'll also find hundreds of green giant arborvitae and junipers to screen thy neighbor.
And right now, get 5 mums for $40.
Sherwood's Forest has been planting smiles for over 45 years, so head to the forest, Sherwood's Forest at 2651 Barrett Station Road, or check out our inventory at sherwoods-forest.com or call 314-966-0028.
Is it time to make a change with your bank? Hi, it's Julie Buck for Triad Bank. They are a full-service financial institution with 2 locations, and they've been around since 2005 with a mission to provide a wide range of commercial and personal banking services. Here's their website. It's triadbanking.com.
Jewels on Hampton pay some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, gemstones, coins, collectibles, and sports memorabilia. JewelsOnHampton.com.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset. Few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation, 314-569-1050. And have a Banner Day.
One of the oldest and most experienced American Standard customer care dealer in St. Louis and St. Charles area, of course, Premier Heating and Cooling. I'm a big fan of them. I have an appointment next week. I get to see my favorite tech from Premier coming out, making sure that our furnace is ready to go when we get into those 40-degree temperatures that are supposed to come after that cold front next week. Today's a good day for you to reach out to Premier Heating and Cooling, 636-916-1122, premierheatingandcooling.net to set up that appointment for the clean and check. Or if you know your furnace is just not going to make it through another harsh St. Louis winter and it's time to get that efficiency, to add the value to your home, to lower your monthly bills, and to have a reliable and safe unit, you can talk to them about financing and have the conversation about the best unit for your home. Connor, I don't know if you heard the news, but I was happy to see the Attorney General in Missouri is making a little bit of a turn from some of the past two. Catherine Hanaway has said from some of the past 2 folks in that position who've had their eye on taking legal stances on more national issues, and she wants to get back to working toward consumer issues. And so they have filed a case against Dollar Generals from an investigation that took place a couple of years ago, but there was no follow-through on prosecution from the Attorney General's office, and they're changing that. They said that when people were going in and, for instance, the sign, like a lot of places, they don't use price tags, of course. It's all electronic. And a sign would say that Gatorade was $1.45, but it would ring up as $1.70. Or a plastic storage box would be priced at $16.50, but it was $18 at the checkout. And they said it was pretty pervasive. And if you think about that, times thousands and thousands of people, it's not only fraudulent, it's creating a nice little boost in sales for the stores and misleading consumers. And the Attorney General in Missouri said, we're not going to allow that anymore.
That's good. Yeah, I like that. I didn't know that was going on.
Yeah, we used to get tips like that when I was the Contact 2 reporter, and we busted. It wasn't national chain, but there were a few things. We did a story once, and one of my favorites was in a parking lot in St. Louis. It would tell you a time when you went in, when on your ticket when you marked it, and then the clock when you were going out was marked, was always running way ahead. And so you always were 10 minutes longer. You were always charged for being 10 minutes longer in the parking lot than you were actually there. And some of those parking lots, they're no joke pricing. That makes a big difference.
Yeah, the little stuff like that, it just drives you crazy. I don't know why places do it. Well, I guess I do know why. They're trying to make some more money, but it's just like, come on.
Well,
I just feel like you'd be good practitioners here.
Yeah, and I'm glad they brought it to consumers' attention again, because it's one of those things that all of us, when we're out and about and doing our shopping, it is worth just watching while they're ringing it up to make sure that not that you can memorize what every single price was, but it's always good to keep everybody honest.
Probably it would go under the radar for a lot of people. If it was dollars off, you would notice, but if it's 10 cents of a difference, I would probably think to myself, oh, I thought that was $145, but I guess it was $155. I guess I misread it, but I guess not.
Okay, so I bad news, because Josh Gilbert was just in here in total agreement with you that peanut butter and chili, peanut butter sandwiches dipped in chili sounded terrible.
Yeah, he was not interested.
But I gotta say, some more text, 573, peanut butter and honey sandwiches with chili, the best, and the carrot and celery sticks. That was a favorite in Catholic grade school cafeterias. Bob the woodworker, though, pointing out that a lot of his lunch just ended up stuffed in the little milk cartons that came along with the lunch, because that was, back when we were in school, your teachers or whoever was in the lunchroom overseeing the nuns, they they'd get on you if you weren't eating your lunch, Connor. They didn't just let you skip that.
There's a lot of milk as a beverage with in school that I never cared for. I don't really like milk that much.
That slightly warm milk in the middle of the morning, in the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah,
while you're sitting at
it
your
was
desk.
just like, out of the cardboard carton. I didn't even like it at its best, so I didn't like it then either.
Yes, and many people pointing out that barbecue sauce and grape jelly, or a variation of that with either Little Smokies or meatballs, was quite
Apparently
the
it was really common. I don't know if I've ever had
dish.
it.
Yeah, it seems to have lost favor in the world of things like your generation's buffalo chicken dip has replaced.
The buffalo chicken dip is great, but even just like in the cocktail sauce feels like that would be better than a jelly, or jelly sauce.
Yeah, cocktail sauce does have a little, in addition to the horseradish, there's something a little sweet in there.
It has flavor, so yes, I like it.
It's ketchup, right? So
Yeah,
it's got sugar in it as well. So it is the blending.
Sweet, so yes.
That is very true. Well, I can't thank you guys enough. You contributed greatly to the fun on the show today, to the information per usual. As John Carney likes to say, you are the best unpaid research team in the history of the world. We love having you, and we want you back here again tomorrow. Frank and Jill Show will be here at 10 a.m. Meantime, keep your dial right here for Carney, along with, of course, Julie Buck and Max Foisey. And then later on, we've got Heidi, Josh, and Bob. So make it a great day, everybody. You sure deserve it.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare